So, Representative Torkelson, when he was with us a few weeks ago, discussed the importance of a transportation bill. So, we've got a viewer from Alexandria who wants to know what's happening on transportation. This particular viewer is concerned about an perceived imbalance of transportation money spent in the metro area and rural areas. We have viewers from the Twin Cities who are also concerned about the transportation bill. Who can tell us what's happening with transportation?
Mary, you're
I think I've done it.
I serve in the House,
You're
but I'm new to the area.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating area to serve as a committee on. So everybody agrees. The good news is that bipartisanly, we all agree. And rural and metro, we all agree. All right. So the question that is before us is, well, okay, then what's the problem? Paying for it.
Right.
So, and how we pay for it. So we have competing proposals that are out there. There is the redirecting the sales tax, because
This is on the House side.
Yep.
on the House side, redirecting the sales tax. But if you keep basing everything upon the gas tax with more fuel-efficient cars, that is decreasing our revenues. That is an unsustainable future. Also, it doesn't take into account natural gas, electric cars, and other sources of energy, hydrogen power, you name it. And so we're putting all the burden upon just gas. So we need to have a broader base, and I think that the House proposal there to redirect sales tax on auto parts, car repairs, because one thing we know, they all need to go to the shop eventually, and capturing those sales taxes and redirecting them to those roads is really important. The other method, which the Senate is proposing that I don't agree with in my district, where people are driving everywhere, a gas tax increase is not supported. Especially on the wholesale, where it goes up with the price of oil, and this right now is only temporary. I just remember, wasn't it about 2 months ago we were paying $1.49 for gas, and now it's up to
Changes
$2.09.
every day.
Changes
Keep
every
track.
day.
So we just got to get a little bit broader base.
Senator Hoffman, transportation bill.
Does the scary thing for me is when you start talking about redirecting, I start thinking about, are we going to start getting into the general fund? And if we get into the general fund on some of this stuff, we start to then compete against the growing silver tsunami that's in the state of Minnesota. The fact that we have
showing?
for the no, and I'd like to talk more offline, Mary, on just where that's going. But it's good to I start to put the caution flag up, saying if we start to dip into the general fund, now we're going to compete against higher education, education E12, early childhood, health and human services, rate methodology, CMS. I mean, it's all going to be thrown out there, and then you say, where do our priorities land? Add another bucket into that priority list. So it's like, how do we find that long-term stable funding that isn't going to be on the general fund thing? And that's, I think, to me, is always a good question to throw out there.
It is,
Dave.
but I think, Senator, too, what we have to remember is that you've got a lot of money going into this fund. I really like this reform about trying to look hard at transportation every 2 years. If it's going to be part of the this current collection of sales tax on auto parts, if we dive into transportation every 2 years, we'll be studying it just like we do education and HHS. If we put on the gas tax that so many people want to do, we forget about it then. I don't think that's the right way to do this. So I think this is a really good reform part of this. But also just the whole picture of all the money going into transportation. Look at how much we're spending, though, on transit subsidies. I've heard the other day that from Big Lake, it's a $22 per rider.
Yep.
And it's
One
per
way.
person, one way. Just imagine if we had that kind of funding that we could put into roads and bridges. Now, I'm not a non-transit guy, but I'm not a train guy. I think transit is different than trains, and I think we have to focus on the better picture for Minnesota, but there's so much money going into transit and trains. That's a problem. I think that has to be looked at because that's where a lot of the money is going. So I think the money's here.
So is that, but go back to my first premise was about the general fund. You start talking about the general fund. And the money you're talking about when you're looking at into the transit
$300 million
side.
a year.
Yeah, and somehow we're going to have to recoup that because when we're looking at, for the first time in the history of Minnesota, you have more people in retirement than you have children in school. So 850,000 kids K through 12. And so my caution or my concern is you start to pull into that general fund, you're going to start to have competing entities in there. And so
you're assuming, Senator, there's no excess anywhere else. We did $42 billion in a budget bill last year. $300 million of that is a very small piece of that. Now, every dollar counts, but I know that we have a lot of areas where we can trim our belt. We got some fraud and abuse in areas that we should be looking at harder
Okay.
at. So this is the thing that we shouldn't just ignore.
Wait, this is
'Cause
the
it's all part of it.
fraud and
It's
abuse.
all part of it.
No.
And the folks that don't want to talk about it, now come on, we should at least have a chance to talk about it.
You're new.
All right, yeah, I know. Pay attention. This is where this goes. Eyes wide open.
No,
been
David,
here-
it's just about the general fund
But
conversation.
that said,
that's the
having been
whole-
here 10 years, and I was really excited to get here, and I had ideas, and I wanted to fund schools, and I've spent almost my entire time cutting. So we have cut, and we have cut, and we have cut, and we have cut. And my concern with the redirecting is, and I jokingly in committee said, so we're going to, pencils and erasers are now going to go to education, car doors going to go to cars. I really think that's the wrong direction to go. I suspect it's the direction we will go because I think it'll be part of the compromise, and I'm disappointed that we go there. But this is taking money out of the general fund, not just for this year, but moving ahead for many, many years.
Right.
So that's one issue we have. One-time versus long-term, funding has been part of the discussion. The department has been patching our road system. They haven't. The department hasn't even been able to say, "Gee, if I could fix our roads, if I could deal with the transportation problems that we have in the inner city, where a good percentage of the state population lives, I could add a road, but I can't even talk about that. I have to patch roads instead." And so that's been the place we've been in. We've been in this patching mode. We've not been in let's solve the problem mode or let's look at a long-term solution mode. And so I think we need to be careful about that and say it should be a long-term solution. As legislators, I know our elections either 2 or 4 years away, but we have to look at the budget 5 years and 10 years out. What are
right.
the needs and
Agreed.
budget for that?
Sure.
And I know it's hard and it's a conflict that we all have to deal with. And the last thing I'm going to mention is transit. And I know sometimes that's an issue when, your caller or your emailer, the Twin Cities are getting all the money. Well, a lot of people live in the Twin Cities. There is gridlock. Those of us here don't live here all the time, but we come here during the session. And it is shocking to try to drive across town in gridlock. I can't even fathom living like this.
That's why rural Minnesota is so fabulous.
Well,
We don't have to deal with it.
but
It's
we
awesome.
have to have bus rapid transit. You have to have light rail. You have to have more lanes or express lanes, things that rural Minnesotans don't deal with. They have their own problems and their own issues, which are long roads like Highway 14 that are too narrow and are dangerous. And there are many roads like that across the state that we have to deal with. But again, we can't just say, let's just do a little fix and think we're going to do it.
Highway 10. We should talk about Highway 10, how long it takes us to
I want to
get.
give the big picture again because it's folks that are out there and dealing with this on the budget. Right now, 42% of that $42 billion goes into E-12 education. And on top of that, you have higher ed.
Yep.
40% goes to Health and Human Services.
Right.
What goes to transportation? 0.5% out of the general fund. All right.
And it's constitutionally
So going up-
mandated that we deal with it.
So going up to 0.75% for a key role of government,
Absolutely.
which is transportation, I think is not too much to ask. And I think it puts us on a record where we have a budget item that is in front of us that we deal with that, which is a core service of government. And the other thing is I served in Health and Human Services for 6 years. I miss it, actually. I switched to go to education this
did
year because
8
I
years.
needed to do that.
Yeah.
No, but also, the way we are currently doing it is unsustainable. So how much more of that budget can we do? We're going to have some reform.
Speaking of education, it's funny because when I first got elected in 2012,
I knew if I
Senator Kiffmeyer and I'm going to bring this equalization piece into this now. The whole thing about compensatory education and equalization of property taxes and how education spending or education, how it's spent and given to the school districts, it's just not equal across the state of Minnesota. Especially if your tax levy's high in some rural districts where you couldn't pass a bond levy referendum if your life depended on it. That's why we did the fixes. And Senator Kiffmeyer is always talking about equalization, how it's different in Elk River than it is in other parts of the state, which is true. And I've been trumping when I was on the school board for years talking about if we were just a typical metro school district, we would have got $28 million more a year based upon that funding formula. So when you're going to talk about the
You
big
might have
picture,
had a few problems along with that.
and well, in the whole side of equalization, at the time, let's say I had a $100,000 piece of property in Coon Rapids, and to get $900 from the state, I had to levy that property $212. If I had that same piece of property in Orono, I would only level it $74. Right? You remember looking at all those spreadsheets, and so you look at the big picture. You say, well, let's have a real systemic look at our process in Minnesota. And that's why I go back to my original premise about once we start grabbing into the general fund, it becomes a grab all. So let's open it up and have a real good, deep conversation about just what the priorities in Minnesota
And maybe
are.
it isn't gas tax. Maybe it's some other kind of tax.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
right.
Ron Earhart, Representative Earhart talks about, a mileage tax, and people get all excited about that. But we have to look at something different. And at least he's kind of thrown it out there and saying,
I think it's
let's
worth the
talk about
conversation.
this. It
Sure.
might be worth a conversation.
Keeping open minds is a good idea. I just think using a part of that is a good idea.
So let me just ask about one specific transportation project. I had a viewer ask me about this offline, actually, a couple of weeks ago. Is there anything that the legislature is dealing with that deals with the Southwest light rail line to Eden Prairie?
You're going to lose it if we don't
boy.
do something. Right?
So have I stepped into a delicate topic
No, it's
here?
easy for me to talk about that one. I don't think it's going
I
anywhere.
come
but,
from a district that has light rail. Okay, our property taxpayers subsidize the light rail. We could do a lot with $2.5 million every year in our county to take care of our county roads and to help our cities and our townships to do that. Instead, it's having to go right off the top into light rail because of that subsidy. And that is that $22, subsidy is just the one way.
And that's the North Star line,
That's the North Star line.
right? Which is
We
technically
mentioned-
not, that's technically
It's the-
commuter rail.
Correct,
as I
commuter rail,
understand it,
yeah.
right?
Well, you run into that as compared to the roads, which through whatever gas tax or other things that we have are generally a user finance methodology. What I really like, what you brought up, was the bus rapid transit. Matter of fact, I mentioned to Senator Dibble, who lives in Minneapolis, when the Green Line was done, the Central Line coming from Minneapolis to St. Paul. I said, well, how nice, Senator Dibble. You're going to be able to ride the Green Line from your home to work. And he said, nope. He said, it's too slow. I'm taking the bus. And so here's the
Like 12
chair
minutes
of the
faster.
Transportation
Right.
Committee. And so bus rapid transit, what is so nice, is multimodal, but you have a singular system that you can make use of, and that's what's really important. And the other thing is you don't divide communities. Southwest Light Rail, the biggest opposition is from the people who live there and having their communities have that rail line. It's fixed, and it's very difficult once you have it. $2 billion.
It's funny. I have a business on University Avenue, and when the session's not in, I will drive to Anoka or Coon Rapids and get on North Star. And I'm gonna step back a couple of minutes
And we're
say,
subsidizing.
at 30 miles.
Thank you, but you're welcome, by the way.
Thank you, by the way.
There we go.
30 miles. I live 30 miles from the state capitol. To get sometimes to St. Paul, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours. And Mary knows this. Highway 10, Highway 610, Highway 35. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah, I would say, I'm appreciative you're not on the road. Thank you.
You can't understand.
One less
And
car for me to have to
get
sit
up,
behind.
Drop it in Anoka, get in there. In a half hour, I get all my emails done, my business emails done in the morning. Half hour, get off at Target Field, get onto the Green Line, and I'm at work. And it's less than an hour to get there. And so a couple
Can I pick
things
you
you
up?
save.
I drive it all
I
the
would
time.
love you
I
to
don't know
pick
where
me
you're
up, Mary.
driving.
The gas savings I have, it's being subsidized. I'm getting more productivity done because of my work stuff. And my mental health, oh my
you must be
gosh.
happy. That's why we have
David,
people
I'm
smile.
telling you, man.
So, but what do you pay when you get on the bus or the train? What do you pay for
It's
that?
$6. It's $6.
So would you pay 16?
Oh, I would pay 16.
I think most people would say that, and I guess what I've
Most people that can afford it would
You're
say
right,
that.
and I guess that.
Thank you.
You don't,
Thanks
you
for
don't
the
just take it from
clarification
6
on
to
that.
16. I understand. But what I don't get as a small business guy, when I'm down here and I see the crashed ice events and these big events down here, all of a sudden then we're giving away free train rides. What is going on with that?
They don't even check
all of a
tickets.
sudden, you've got these huge events coming in, and they want to get rid of traffic. They want to have people
It
not
could
come in.
also be
So
if
I
people are drinking, they don't want them
Well, that's
drinking
part of
and
it
driving.
too, but people are smarter than that.
I
but here we
wish.
go. We
You wanna
subsidize
talk
more.
about driving while
but we-
intoxicated?
But here we go. We just keep throwing more
I have a
dollars
bill for
at it.
that.
I'm just trying to say, let's fix
So
this.
why did
but be smart about
why
it.
did the Twin West really the Twin West? You talk about the business impact on it. Twin West has always been in support of the Southwest. Going back to your first comment
Right.
about Southwest. I don't know why it's things stopping up. I know that the federal dollars are at risk if we don't do anything, which leaves the Blue Line open to come up to Brooklyn Park. But I saw along University Avenue a change, and you're seeing it. There's buildings going on along University Avenue, and it's just an amazing, from a business perspective, to see that, and that's why the whole.
So, but the counter argument to that is that, you know, when you look at
It's all anecdotal.
Well, it's all anecdotal,
Yeah.
but it's real, and
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
I'm not suggesting it's not, but I suspect that the argument would center around: is it transit? Is it transportation? Is it economic development? You know,
Yes.
And is it
Yes.
subsidized? A lot of the businesses that are going on along University there are heavily subsidized either through TIF districts or direct subsidies. And by the way, I used to go down University all the time. I loved it. It's an eclectic.
The best
Yeah.
restaurants in the state are right
I don't
here.
anymore. It is too dangerous. I drive down and you've got the line going through and you got people walking over and you're driving a car and people are poking out. We've had deaths already just since it's being going into
Yeah.
production. And so I used to enjoy it. I'm one of those who, I go everywhere but. And Ralph and I went for lunch and we just don't go down University because there is that
I would have picked
risk.
you up and taken you down there. Yeah, you would have picked
So for $6, you can afford to do that.
So let me go back to my question. Just is the Southwest Rail, is there going to be action on that in this session? And if not, does that end the project? I mean, is that kind of where it's at? Do we
I
know?
haven't seen the House moving.
Well, what they
We've had
wanted.
some hearings that comes up, but I
Right.
don't see.
I don't think you're going to see much from the House this year.
Yeah.
On the Senate side, it's a little bit different, but it's mainly going to be that it's a funding issue. And I think when you have a hue and cry for roads and bridges and other things that are going on, this does not tend to. There is a very, very small sector, relatively small actually, but the larger body, the larger voice of Minnesota is not really excited about that.
Well, it's interesting. I would disagree with that anecdotally because that's what I'm hearing. But that's good. I'm glad to hear Mary's perspective because she sits on the transportation committee. So